Good afternoon and welcome to the Foster Swift Sports Talk podcast. We're here at Impact Sports in Novi, Michigan. We're joined by Jim Kielbaso. Jim, thanks for joining us. And first of all, thank you for having us today. We've had such a great time. Talked to a lot of players that are training for the combine under you. And like as Kim was just mentioning, we've got a lot of fans out there talking very highly of you and what you do here. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. I didn't know I had those fans, and I think they should be paying a membership fee or something.
Well, I'm surprised you have such fans after I saw him get off that treadmill over there, because I don't know that I would be.
They said they hated me. Apparently they came over here and they changed their tune because they know that if I hear them say that.
Yeah. Well, I think they stayed over here a little bit longer because they didn't want to go back to the treadmill.
Yeah, they bought some time. That's smart move. Absolutely.
So, obviously, everyone's prepping for pro days. The season is over now. You've got what seems like a great group of guys here. Tell us a little bit about where we're at in the process and what you're focusing on with the guys now.
We're about halfway done. Most of the pro days are going to be the first or second week of March. Some of them might be a little bit later, but typically it's in that kind of range. So we've got a couple weeks until we do what I call a mock pro day. So basically run a pro day, let them feel what it's going to be like. It gives them a chance to kind of see where they are and what their times and scores are going to be. So up until this point, we've been focusing a lot on technique, on mechanics and steps and everything like that, getting them back in shape. A lot of guys at the end of their season are just not in very good shape because either they took a break or during the season they're not doing this kind of stuff. And now it's kind of like refining things and getting them to where like they're able to do things all out the same way each time. There's a lot of they do it right one time and then they do it wrong one time, and it's inconsistent. So we're starting to get things a lot more consistent so they have a real good idea of where they're going to be at their pro day.
Jim, what is like the most important aspect of their training? Is it speed? Is it strength? Like what would you encourage anybody that's going through this training to focus on if they had to focus on one thing?
Definitely speed, and a lot of it is mechanics. So I think people can go out and just run on their own and like do some conditioning a little bit, but actually making changes into their nervous system, that's the hard part, and that's what we focus a lot on, and that's what gets guys a little bit neurotic sometimes because they know they're not doing it just right and they're not picking it up. So it gets them to feel like, okay, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? And they get a little nervous until it clicks, but definitely the speed component of it.
Jim, you have an impressive group here. So how many are you training right now?
I think we have 24 guys getting ready for pro days, and then there's another, I think 10 or 12 pro guys that are in here.
Elijah mentioned that he asked you a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lot of the guys ask you questions, but what are some of the common questions that you get asked as the guys are going through this process?
Well, Elijah loves to ask questions, for sure. But in a good way. He's like dialed in. He wants to be, as good as he possibly can. He doesn't want to let anything, slip past him. And that it's kind of what it takes. Like you can't just go with the flow. You have to be really, really good at everything. So a lot of the questions are, can you watch my 40 start again? Or what am I doing here? They'll perform and they'll say, what can I do differently here? And it's not just one time, it's not one thing. They want the feedback. The people that look at feedback as a gift, they get better faster. The people that look at feedback as a negative thing, it's harder. Yeah. It's harder to accept it and harder to get better.
Yeah. Jim, all these guys, they're obviously improving and getting better by going through your training. But what about you? Are you working on some new stuff or doing new drills this year or you're thinking about like next year?
I'm just trying to make it through this. No, I've got some things going. We have a coaching mentorship program that we've been working on. I'm not going to spill all my secrets. I don't know. I have to make some decisions on some things, so I'm not exactly sure where everything's going to go. In the meantime, we're growing and we're making improvements to our current business structure, and things are good.
Yeah, awesome. We'll look forward to hearing about that. And one of the things that struck me in talking to the players who are getting ready, they obviously all really are they're learning a lot from you and they trust you, and it also seems that it helps that you have these NFL players here. That has to be somewhat of a calming, experience to have you to ask questions to someone else that's been through that process.
It's not just me, that's for sure. My staff that's done this with me for years, they're amazing also. So there's always somebody, a coach around to help them do what they need to be doing. And then we call it story time, and we gather the guys around and say, all right, everybody sit down, it's story time. And the NFL guys that have trained with me will come back and they'll talk about their process and give advice on things. And like Trevor Nowaske just the other day, like he had a great talk, and like kind of it really hit home for a lot of guys, talking about how hard you have to work and you have to lock in and the things that he did to make it work. And then it gives them a chance to, all the guys, to ask questions. What do you see? Like, and I always ask the question to guys like, what do you see that gets guys cut? And the younger guys need to know that because they haven't been through the NFL camp process, and it's hard. I mean, it's really tough business. It's cutthroat, but that's also what makes it so great. Mm-hmm. So these guys that come back and tell their stories, it's pretty amazing that they've been able to have NFL careers.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so this is the first step of getting your foot into a very difficult door to get into in the NFL. Are all the guys, it seems like everyone's developing a strong camaraderie around here. They seem like they get along really well. Do the guys stay around in the area and sort of develop those relationships?
Yeah, so after their pro days, there's about 6 weeks before camp.
Okay.
Then they go to camp, have OTAs, and then there's another about 6-week break before like fall camp starts. And a lot of the guys will stick around for different portions of this, and some of them even come back. So Chase, that you guys, Chase Davis, lives in California, and he flew back and got an Airbnb to stay here and train for the next month to get ready for UFL. So we do get a lot of that, and the guys that have trained with them, they all kind of they do bond and become friends. What I love seeing more than anything is after NFL games, guys that have trained here will like trade jerseys.
Awesome. That's cool.
It's such a small world. Like, they all know each other, so they'll talk like during games, and then they'll tell me, they're like, oh yeah, like I told him that I know you, and he had this story about you, and this and that. And so it's pretty cool to hear those stories and see the pictures.
I can't remember if I've asked you before, but will you be going to any of these pro days or the combine?
Yeah, I go to as many pro days as I can. I won't go to the combine, but I try to go to as many of the pro days as I can.
Yeah. Is that fun for you, or is that stressful?
It's super fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't really do anything when I'm there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to train them in the middle of their pro day, so I'm kind of there to, pump them up. And it is interesting though. You see guys, like, they've prepared for this day for so long, they know exactly what's coming, and just all the time somebody forgets something. Like they get distracted talking to their friends that they haven't seen in a while, and I'm like, you gotta go. Like, you can talk to them later.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff's really fun. And most of their pro days, like almost across the board, guys have great pro days, so it's fun, and they're really excited, and afterwards, like, they're ecstatic about it and feeling really good and introducing me to their families and stuff. It's fun.
It's awesome.
Pro days are like the celebration part of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for having us today. We've really had a blast talking to the guys, and
awesome.
So we really appreciate it.
They speak very highly of you.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
This is really cool for you guys to highlight some of these guys that are working their butts off to make it happen. So
We'll do it again
kudos
sometime.
to you guys.
Yes,
Absolutely.
We're back at Impact Sports here. We're joined by Trevor Nowaske from the Detroit Lions. Trevor, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
So we've talked to quite a few players that are getting ready for the combine today here. Are they asking you for advice?
last week I talked to the guys. I gave kind of my words of wisdom. I remember, now, I'm going into year 4 in the league, and, I feel like I was just here training for my pro day. So I'm excited to be back. Yeah, I love giving words of wisdom to guys because, like I said, I was in their shoes just not too long ago. So.
And what was that message? What are you trying to impart to these guys, as they're getting ready for, it's a pretty important time in their football careers.
Yeah. I think my biggest philosophy and my biggest, kind of message to them was just, it seems like a long time right now training for your pro day, right? You've got 2 or 3 months till March, and that's usually when the pro days start. Just the importance of every single day, right? I feel like right now is the time where they're not in college anymore. They don't have somebody telling them what to do. It's kind of on your own to make this thing a reality. The reality is also a lot of these guys were in the same shoes as me, where they're small school guy, D2, kind of back against the wall, where they're going to have to kind of jump off the tape at their pro day. So just making sure they're doing everything possible, not just in here, but outside of the building to kind of make sure their dreams become a reality.
Yeah. And Trevor, you mentioned that you're on year 4 in the NFL. How important is it working with a guy like Jim at Impact Sports here to keep having a healthy NFL career?
Oh, it means everything, right? I think just showing or just seeing the guys that come back year after year, right? There's so many guys in the league that come back to gyms every year just because, he does it right. He's by far the best trainer in Michigan. He's by far probably one of the best trainers in the country. And I think, like I said earlier, I think it's just the little attention to detail, just kind of the philosophies he have that translate onto the football field. I can't thank him enough. He's been a huge reason of my success so far.
And how did you connect with Jim?
So he actually trained my high school. I went to Salem High School from Canton, Michigan. Impact, I think they were Total Sports at the time, way back when. He trained my high school football team. So, and then when I was coming out, I can't remember, either a friend of a friend or somebody. I went to Saginaw Valley. So I think somebody that had come out before me trained here, and we got connected, and it was one of the best decisions I made for sure.
And so, for those that don't know, I think, a lot of Lions fans know your story a little bit, but, where'd you start? Where'd you go to college? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I said, born and raised in Canton, Michigan. I still live in Canton, so like being hometown, and went to Saginaw Valley all 5-6 years. I took them all. Took the COVID year. Took the, I took them all. I had no choice. But so yeah, I think I love being, kind of counted out, coming out. I love the idea of knowing that, this was my only shot, and I had to do a lot of good things, and a lot of things had to kind of go my way in order to make this thing a reality. So yeah, trained here coming out of my pro day, and my pro day down the road at the GLIAC Pro Day. Ended up getting UDFA with the Lions coming out of the draft, undrafted. And yeah, we've just kind of been rolling from here. I started on the practice squad, and then for now 3 years, had a short stint in Arizona with the Cardinals for about a training camp about 2 years ago, and then now we're, like I said, going on year 4 with the Lions. So like I said, there was a lot of hard work along the way, but at the same time, a lot of luck, a lot of things kind of had to go my way, but I'm super grateful for it all.
Yeah. Well, what motivates you to keep going? You started from a D2 school to where you're at now. Yeah. That's got to take a lot of drive and a lot of motor. So what drives you to keep being great?
I have a great support system with my family, right? My family's just a huge sports background. My dad played football. He played at Adrian College in Michigan. He's in the Hall of Fame there. Had a short stint with the Browns coming out. Kind of wanted to be like my dad growing up. So I also like to say, I definitely kind of have that chip on my shoulder coming from a small school, being undrafted, things like that. So, I think I just love proving people wrong. I love continuing to kind of write my own story, and there's kind of that little doubt in the back of my head or whatever, I just keep going, and when other people are telling me I can't, I just continue to kind of keep going.
I think it'd be an understatement to say there's a lot of young athletes out there that look up to you and want to be, where you're at, get to where you're at. What advice do you have for them? If you're a high school kid that's, looking to get recruited and, hopefully eventually playing the NFL, what's that advice?
Yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice is no matter what you're doing, just be consistent, right? I feel like a lot of times there's, you're getting pulled in different directions. You have different trainers trying to tell you what to do. I think a lot of kind of where I've gotten, how I've gotten to do it is just being consistent, doing the little things right. I know it sounds mundane. I know a lot of people say that, but if you can really hone in on just, whether it's, stretching, whether it's eating the right things, just little things like that. You do that time over time over time. One of my teammates, one of my best friends, Jack Campbell, you guys obviously Lions fans, he's been so successful. He's kind of had a breakout year. He told me my rookie year, he sees it as like compounding interest, right? He sees it as just depositing, if you're 1% better than the next guy day over day over day, over time, you're just going to be gradually that much better than the next guy. And, I kind of took home to that, and I kind of try to, model that after what I do. So just, doing the same thing over and over, and, eventually it'll click, and eventually you'll see the results.
Yeah, Trevor, I gotta ask, how's the team looking? What are you looking forward to next year?
Yeah, obviously we didn't have the year we wanted, a little disappointment. But like I said, I think we're all super motivated going into next year. Like I said, I think everybody's got that chip on that shoulder. We got a huge thing in the team meeting room, grit, just kind of stuff like that. When you get knocked down, get back up and just keep going. We're super excited. There's a lot of stuff that has to go into place before then. A lot of things need to happen, and a lot of off-season training, but we're looking forward to it. Obviously, it's only been a couple weeks and everybody's back in getting to work, so nice. I'm looking forward to it.
I have to imagine there were moments throughout your career where you're like, I don't know if I'm making it until tomorrow.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about in those moments, and how are you sort of pushing through and just focusing on the next play?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's been multiple times, especially early on, right, where I think I had a little bit of imposter syndrome where I'm like, dude, how am I here? What happened? You blinked and all of a sudden you're, on the field of, the team you watched growing up, right? So I think for me, I try not to let my emotions get the best of me, right? There's always going to be, in all aspects of life, there's always going to be that little self-doubt in the back of your head. And you just got to keep going, man. You got to keep, you see the preparation you've put in, you see the hard work. Like I said, I like to fall back on just my training, my preparation, things like that to kind of propel me. Like I said, even when you don't think you're going to make it, you just keep doing what you're doing and you'll see what happens. So.
And as far as the mental part of the game, it seems like such a big part of it for you. Like, how do you keep a strong mental game, or how do you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was a big wake-up call going into year one, right? I think I didn't realize how important the mental aspect is over the physical, and things like that. I think that's something that you need to train yourself. I think that's something that you need to consistently put in day out, whether it's watching more film, whether it's just being a little more intentional, focusing on things, as a linebacker, your keys, things like that. I would just say be more intentional, and constantly just reminding yourself of things like that until it becomes second nature.
What was the toughest transition going from, Saginaw to the NFL? Was it the physical, or was it, the sort of mental side of? I've always heard that at the NFL, it is, you guys are professionals, so the expectation is that you're doing everything off the field, to get yourself ready to go. But what was that, transition like?
Yeah, no, I would say, definitely the biggest part, like we just said. I think it's for sure the mental and the outside portions of it, right? When you're in college, you play football, you go home, you got to go to school and things like that, but now it's a job, right? You know what I mean? And I feel like that was something I had to definitely, I felt like I had a good work ethic coming in, but it definitely had to be enhanced a ton. I realized very quickly, kind of being an undrafted guy in order to kind of get where I wanted to go. So, I think the mental aspect for sure. I think especially at a smaller school, the schematics weren't as, intense. And then I got there and I was like, okay. But, I'm always up for the challenge. I was always I'm a smart guy. I like to, think I am at least. And, I felt like I had a good idea going in of what I needed to do in order to be successful.
Trevor, has Saginaw Valley had you back to kind of mentor those guys at all, or give any speeches?
Yeah, I've been back a couple times. They just had a coaching change, so I'm excited to meet the new coach. I go back and kind of just talk about what we've talked about, right? Just doing the little things, being consistent. That's just really my message at all times. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I feel like that's super important. Just kind of being consistent. In all aspects of life, right? I think it's important also to not, talk about not getting your degree and things like that, because at the end of the day, that's what you need to fall back on. Football's not for forever. So, it's always great to go back. I love Saginaw. Got nothing but good things to say about, the Cards. So
nice.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Podcast. Today we're at Impact Sports in Brighton. We're joined with Davis Heinzen. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Cool.
So Davis is here with a group of others that are training for the NFL Combine and the NFL Pro Days. And so we're going to talk to him a little bit about that and ask how that journey's going.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been great, awesome. Yeah.
So Wisconsin grad. Do you guys? When is your pro day coming up?
I'm not really sure yet. I've heard mid-March, possibly early April, but I'm not exactly sure yet.
And so how long have you been training for at this point for the pro day?
For the pro day, I mean, our season ended late November.
Okay.
Took a little bit of a week or two, just kind of chilling out, getting the body back. Just did some lifting and some basic stuff in December, and then we started here January 5th, and we've been going for almost a month now.
Davis, tell me your story. Have you always been at Wisconsin? How'd you get from starting at the D1 level to here?
Yeah, so I grew up in Wisconsin, actually, in Manitowoc, kind of by Green Bay. Was a tight end in high school, got recruited as a tight end, played at Central Michigan for 4 years, and 4.5 with COVID and everything. Decided, kind of wanted to take that next step for my last year, because I graduated at Central Michigan, so got a agent and stuff, and Wisconsin was definitely a top choice for me, being from there, and I played there this past year, and it was awesome.
Nice.
So Davis, tell us what it's like, the preparation for the pro day. What's involved in all that?
Yeah, it's very different training from being a football player. Now we're like track stars right now. We're running every day, being a 300-pound guy, running, doing sprints all the time. It's definitely tough and a big adjustment, but being a month in right now, body's definitely getting more used to it, feeling faster. But I enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun.
Is there a transition? Because obviously when you're at the end of the football season, I know, your body's worn down at that point. It's sort of maintenance, not, I'm sure you're not as strong as you are at the end of the season than you are at the beginning. I guess what's that transition like when you're getting back to wearing shorts and working out and trying to look fast and strong?
Yeah, it kind of sucks, after the season. You feel like you're in shape after a full season of football, but you're really kind of, a step behind, and, those first couple weeks in December, you're feeling a little bit weaker. Things are hurting that didn't used to hurt, but little by little you get that strength back, and I feel like I'm almost pretty much where I was at before the season, when I was at my peak physical strength and stuff. I'm sweating a lot right now. So definitely working right now. So
how'd you connect with Jim to prepare here at Impact Sports?
So my agent, Tom Defelsky, I've played with his son at Central Michigan, and was really good friends with him, and got connected with him, and he knows Jim very well for years, and that's how I got connected.
Nice. Davis, what advice would you have for other college players that are looking to be in your shoes when they're at your level?
Yeah, just getting those good habits, from the start of your career, just being consistent through your work, not kind of, slacking when it's time off and stuff. I felt like my time off, in like May and December was my chance to, get a step ahead of other people. And when you're training like, you're in a game-winning rep, have that mindset throughout each day, each practice.
Can you tell us about the transition going for, you're at Central for 4 years, mm-hmm. That's a change, going to a different school. Is it something that you would recommend for others? I know, we're in the world of the transfer portal now. What was your experience like there?
Yeah, I'd recommend it for, depending on your situation, of course. But, having a lot of experience, I played for three straight seasons, 36 games started in a row. So, I had a lot of experience. So that made the transition a lot easier. But yeah, it's going from G5 to Power 4, and it's a transition for sure. And, good thing I got there in the beginning of summer. I was able to kind of get my way, through those workouts and stuff. Getting me ready for that fall camp, which was also a big adjustment going against some, bigger, faster, stronger guys. Yeah. But eventually, got used to it, and it was very good for me.
Nice.
Well, great. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll definitely follow your journey, and we wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're back here at Impact Sports in Novi, Michigan with Blake Buster. And Blake, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So Blake, we're talking about we want to know, I guess, about your combine training and your journey. So can you kind of tell us where you're at right now and what you're up to?
Yeah, so I'm out here in Novi, Michigan, just training with a bunch of great guys. Jim Kielbaso puts this on, and it's been really challenging, but it's been good. I've seen a lot of growth just in myself and the other guys that are training here. So it's good. It's not always easy, but that's what the work is, right?
So tell us, where'd you start? You mentioned that you'd been to a couple places, so give us a little bit about your story, what position you play.
Yeah, so I came out of high school, I was a 2020 grad, so I was a COVID baby. Went to Wayne State for 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, I guess it was 3.5, 3 playing seasons. Then I transferred to Eastern Michigan and played a year there, and then along the line, sometime at Eastern, my O-line coach brought up this like eligibility waiver I could pursue. So I pretty much played the 2024 season, like hoping I'd get another year back, but not really knowing. And then so come January of 2025, I was essentially like a walk-on player. I got my scholarship taken, but I was still showing up to everything. And throughout that process, our O-line coach took another job, and I was kind of like put on the back burner because they didn't know if I was going to be able to play or not. So I showed up for everything, and then eventually I got attorneys, took it to the NCAA. I won my court case in the middle of fall camp in August, and then stuff really didn't feel right. I was still taking reps with like freshmen, and I felt like I was doing a disservice to myself to fight for that much and not play. So I unenrolled from Eastern Michigan, and a few days later got in contact with my old coach, and he allowed me to walk on. So then I drove down to southern Mississippi, where it was like 100 degrees for 2 weeks straight. But we got adjusted fast.
Yeah. And what position do you play?
Offensive line. So I play right and left tackle, but trust me, I played all 5. I prefer at my size to play on the edges. So.
Fair. How'd your season go at Southern Miss?
It was good. Man, football in the South it's different. The people, Southern has hospitality. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
The food is good. I never had Waffle House. Had a lot of chocolate chip waffles. No, but the game day experience, the people, the coaches, man, it was just a different environment. Playing at the Rock, that's what they call their home stadium. Really special place. Unfortunately, we went 7-5, but we lost 3 of our last 3 games, and then we lost the bowl game. But I wouldn't trade my experience for anything. It was a great time.
Can you kind of walk us through the preparation experience for your pro day? When does it start? How long does it go? What's that look like? And when's your actual pro day?
Yeah, so my pro day is going to be at Southern Miss. It's March 14th, I believe. But I mean, in the moment right now, you're just trying to do everything to get your mind, your body, and your spirit just aligned. So going to bed at the right time, trying to get at least 8 hours. I mean, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm like, I feel like I'm in middle school again. My parents are taking my phone, go to bed. Limiting time on your phone and stuff like that. Eating the right stuff. Trying to get your macros, as much protein as you need. Me and a couple other guys, there's like a Lifetime Fitness around here, so we go there for like hot and cold tubs. So right now we're on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday basis. So like on Wednesdays, yesterday, I'll go swim 500 meters, do like a hot and cold tub, maybe get a sauna. But then upstairs they have like these Normatec boots. I'll take a book up there, read for like 15 minutes. And after that, it's just trying to get some R&R.
Yep. What's your, what would you say is your least favorite drill or workout that Jim's putting
right now? The treadmill is hard, man.
You can hang out here as long as you want.
He's not going back.
I told him, this was a great time. It's a fabulous time. I mean, you start off and it's like, 10 miles an hour and like 5% incline. You're like, oh, this isn't bad. Then he cranks it up to 20% incline and like 12 miles an hour, and you're like fighting for everything you got for 5 seconds. You're like, Jim, that was more than 5 seconds, man. But no, it's tough, but it's
he said he was almost up, so he's like, we're gonna hang out here for a little bit.
We heard him yelling there.
It's a good experience.
It seems like you guys are developing a sort of camaraderie out here where everyone's sort of in the same position. You're all working out together after the season. Is that fair? Sort of good culture out here?
Yeah, no, I think that starts with Jim too. Jim's just like a really special human. You can tell just by the look in his eye that he really genuinely cares about us. Yeah. And that just trickles down into like the atmosphere here, like the guys, like, there's a bunch of guys coming in that I had no idea who they were. I knew of them, but then now you get to go through the treadmill and then like sleds or like these tough workouts, and that's just like it brings you closer, and it's fun to experience that.
For sure.
What message would you have to any scouts that see this, or pro GMs? What can they expect if they were to pick you up?
Man, I'm just try to do right by other people. Just try to be a good person. Give God the glory. Honor my family, and just be a great human. That's about it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be following you and rooting you on. So
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, great.
Appreciate it.
Welcome back. We're here at Impact Sports in Novi, Michigan. We're joined by Dion Bufford. Dion, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Talking to Dion about his pro day training and how that's going, and get a little bit of his backstory. First of all, Dion, where did you play college ball at, and what positions you play?
I started out at the University of Kentucky. Was there for 3 years, and then ended up transferring to Cincinnati.
Okay. What position?
I play O-line.
O-line. Okay. And where'd you grow up? Are you from Michigan?
Yep, from Michigan.
Okay.
Born and raised, Detroit, Michigan.
Okay. And in terms of the transfer, we've talked to a couple guys who've transferred. We represent some guys who transferred. What went into that decision, to move from Kentucky to Cincinnati?
So basically, for me, it was just all about like having stability, because I wanted to be like, when you play O-line, you want to be a part of a group of guys that's like connected. Like all 5 guys, you got to be like on one, one accord. And I just felt like as an offensive staff, we didn't have like any stability. All 3 years, I was learning a different playbook, and I just wanted to go somewhere where we had our offensive line coach and we had our OC, and we were all on the same page. So I just wanted to go somewhere where I felt like I was going to play and where I was going to get stability from.
Yeah. So Dion, obviously you're preparing now. You're putting in the work right now for the pro day. Do you feel like your time at Cincinnati really prepared you well for this moment?
Oh yeah, for sure. Coach Nico and our strength staff there definitely prepared us for like all of these agility drills. Like throughout summer workouts, even winter workouts, where like they're drilling this stuff into us, like technique on all the cone drills and 40 stuff. Like we're doing this stuff like every day. So I feel like we definitely one of the main schools that's prepared to get this stuff right.
And Dion, can you explain what goes into your preparation for your pro day and when that is?
So our pro day at UC will be March 24th. Preparation, it's the same as like everything, like with even like throughout the season. It's all the same. Like you gotta sleep right, you gotta eat right, you gotta prepare accordingly. You gotta get your recovery in. You gotta do like the extra things to make sure that your body feels right every day. Like every day after this, I'm stretching. I'm going to do cold tub, hot tub. I'm going to get a little bit of sauna in. I'm just doing anything I can do to like prepare for the next day. Like I want to get my recovery back up as close to 100% as possible every single day, and just keep stacking days. And I feel like keep doing that up until a pro day, and I'll be as prepared as I can be, really.
Mm-hmm. We were watching you guys out here. It seems like you got a good group of guys. Jim Kielbaso, he's been doing this for a long time. Do you feel like you're getting prepared for that, for that pro day? Okay.
So Jim and Coach Nico, my strength coach, the head strength coach at Cincinnati, they're kind of like are already familiar with each other. So they kind of like got some familiarity with each other, and they kind of coach like they're getting us right. Like they know what they're talking about. Jim knows what he's doing. He's coaching a lot of guys that I played with before, like from Michigan. So I think Jim is getting us right. He knows what he's doing.
Sure. And Dion, I think you're probably pretty highly recruited out of high school. This has probably always been the dream to play, at the NFL level. How does it feel? You're here, right? Like this is your moment. Your next few months are going to be crucial. How does that feel going through this right now? Is it just really exciting?
It's exciting, but at the end of the day, I really just like getting work in. I really just like coming here every day, being able to be around a group of guys that like we all got the same goal, you know, coming in just working every day, like it kind of just, it feels the same as how it felt all throughout high school, college, you know, just back working again, just being around guys getting work in. That's really the most important part to me, just being around a good group of guys getting better every day.
Nice. What advice do you have to younger athletes that look to you and think, you know, that's my dream, that's what I want to do?
Yeah. Don't take it for granted, you know. Like some guys feel like they have time, and you know, you get a red shirt year and all this stuff, or you know, just don't take it for granted. Do all the little things, do as much as you can do, get extra work in, and just do your best to limit the distractions. Like, it's gonna be a lot of distractions. Guys gonna be pulling you to do different stuff, but stay in your own lane and stay focused.
Awesome. Sure. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. We'll be following you and wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
the breather.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Yep.
We're back at Impact Sports in Novi, Michigan with Elijah Gordon from Central Michigan University, talking to him about his training for his upcoming pro day and to learn a little bit about how he got to Central. Elijah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, so, you know, first of all, I guess, can you just kind of tell us about your journey to Central?
Yeah, so I'm from Midland, Michigan initially, so I'm pretty local. I moved about 30 minutes from home to Saginaw, Michigan. Just put a lot of work in there and had some success at that level and decided to go ahead and transfer up to Central for this past senior year.
What made you choose Central Michigan? Were you picking between a couple spots?
Yeah, so I had collected over 20 FCS and FBS offers, and just, you know, it wasn't too far from home, obviously, but just more importantly, just kind of what I felt like I could grow from there. And obviously, getting ready for a pro day right now, and I felt like that would put me in a good position for this, and it did, so I'm happy about it.
When is your pro day?
March 4th, Wednesday at Central.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yep. And what position do you play?
I play safety.
Safety.
Yep, I played safety. I played nickel. I played every spot this past year for Central.
Okay.
Yep.
So walk us through what this training looks like. When did you start? You know, what was a day-to-day look like?
Yeah, so I got a little late off of my season because we had a bowl game after Christmas, but I got here early January, just a few days in. Moved in just right downtown, and yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. It's running, it's lifting every day. It's hands-on with the group here, and Jim and Lucas and Megan and all the staff here. But yeah, it's just constant work and just constant mechanics and technical stuff as well.
In terms of like, you know, we've seen a lot of linemen here as well. Does the prep change a little bit for you as a, you know, skill position DB?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Okay.
And they have specific stuff for both groups, both linemen and defensive backs and receivers and all of us that are kind of grouped individually and differently. But what makes it great is there's a lot of guys that are like me. As much linemen as there is to compete and grow with each other, I have the same thing with defensive backs, receivers, and other skill group guys, and that's probably the best part about this is just being able to work and compete against guys and just get better as a result of it.
Sure. I mean, we've had a couple offensive linemen on now, and they come over to us all drenched, saying that they just got off the treadmill. I mean, you look like you're in a little bit better shape right now. Is the treadmill as deadly to you, or do you feel like you're...
No, it is. Right before you called me over, I was laying on my back, just contemplating some life choices. Obviously, for me, I'm doing a lot more running since I was born, probably, and so it comes a little secondhand to me. We're about to go lift, so I'm sure they'll probably kick my butt in that.
Yeah, fair. And now, is there more of a focus on the 40 and the 3-cone drill for you? You know, obviously, because you are a DB.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. That's obviously going to make or break you, right? And that could be the difference between never playing another down of football again and making some money and having a successful career. So yeah, there's a lot of emphasis on it. They put a large emphasis on it, probably bigger than I even imagined there would be, because yeah, like we said, that's everything. And in the drills that we're doing, the 40 and all that translates to everything else, right? So from a biomechanical, like, kind of movement perspective, that'll translate into the vertical, into the broad jump. So you don't need to do as much with those things.
So as sports guys, we're the guys, you know, sitting around watching the combine on the weekends when it comes up. You know, because you're training for it, you actually watching film of pro day combines in the past?
Yeah, so Jim will attest to this. I'm very analytical and I probably ask way too many questions. I probably annoy him often, but yeah, constantly watching YouTube videos, constantly talking to the pro guys that are here, which is probably one of the better aspects of this too. Trevor Nowaske and Nick Whiteside went to Saginaw Valley. They're both currently with the Lions, and I've been there for a couple of years now and stuff. So just constantly being able to ask them questions, dig into techniques and stuff, and just kind of learn more about it. So I'm completely ready when March 4th comes around.
So Elijah, what advice do you have for guys that are at like a D2, D3 school looking to make that jump?
Yeah.
What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going to be confidence. Like it's unfamiliar, it's uncomfortable to make that jump. And now I'm not saying everybody should, because like I said, Trevor Nowaske and Nick Whiteside are both. Trevor's in like his 4th year with the Lions, coming from Saginaw Valley, went right here, and so we're all making different paths, trying to get to the same spot. But at the end of the day, it's all about just truthfully and believing in yourself and wholeheartedly do it. And I think Trevor attests to that. He spoke to us in front of the group not too long ago, and that's exactly what he talked about. Just unwavering confidence, even when you don't maybe have it. Like just you got to convince yourself that you do. And I'd say the same thing to the younger guys and guys at D2 and D3.
Great. How'd you get linked up with Jim?
He just reached out through Instagram, but more so I had heard from all the guys that went to Saginaw to here, and they couldn't say a thing bad about him, even if they probably tried. Even if I asked them anything about, like, they couldn't come up with anything. I got nothing but good to say about him. They had nothing but good to say about him, and it's been great.
So when your pro day gets here, what does that look like? You get there early in the morning, there all day, like what?
Yeah, no, 100% exactly right. I've watched a bunch at Saginaw, like they have the GLIAC Pro Day, so I've seen it a few times, and you're right, it's probably more standing around than you'd like, and there's a build up of anticipation and stuff like that. But Jim, I haven't seen it entirely, but he has a whole layout for us, as I spoke to some of the other guys about how that day will look, how you'll warm up, how you'll wait around, probably breathing techniques and thinking techniques and all these different things, and just to be well prepared as the day goes on.
Was it a bit of a transition going from obviously playing in a bowl game and then having to, I know Jim and I know he's working on, technically the starts and everything down to, the minutia, which is really important. Yeah. How was that transition for you?
Yeah, so football is not pro day. That is something I've learned big time, and that's what everybody has to learn. And like first day we came here, Jim's like, yeah, everything you just did for the past hour, throw it out the window, because this is basically track. Now, again, it'll all translate, but basically we're doing track. We're running like treadmill and all that stuff. Never did that at, Central or Saginaw with that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's so much different. Football, all the mechanics of football doesn't always necessarily translate to some of the running stuff we're doing. So big transition, especially coming off a long season at Central. But yeah, definitely learning it now, and then I'll be ready to get back into football once it's all done. So
last question from me, Elijah. If there was any scouts or pro GMs watching this, what would your message be to them? What can they expect if they were to get you?
Yeah, no, same thing. I think there's just a level of confidence that I'm gonna roll with. So you don't have to worry about again, I made the jump. I'm comfortable at different levels, and I'm ready to make a professional jump as well. But then, kind of more importantly, I always fall back on is just there's a level of competitiveness that I have. That's what gave me success at Saginaw. That's what gave me success at the Division I FBS level, and that's what gave me success at the NFL level. There's a lot of guys that are fast. There's a lot of guys that are going to jump well and do all these things. I'm going to do it as well. But what separates guys is how they compete, I believe, and that's something I definitely have.
Nice. Well, awesome. Elijah, thanks so much for joining us. We wish you luck. We're going to follow you, and I know it's going to go well for you.
Appreciate that.
Thanks so much.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.